Cigi England here on Leadership Across the Table this week, the founder of Cigi's Boutique, and then also the nonprofit, The Exceptional Bean, that a lot of our audience knows about The Exceptional Bean and Rising Above, and we kind of have a similar audience, but then again, a lot of people that watch our content and our channel do not know and will not know about you and what you've done in the community. And I think our whole show is about leadership. We interview a whole variety of people that own businesses, politicians. We just interviewed Ricky Shelton earlier. I mean, just different people. And the thing is, there's so much we can get when we listen to each other and when we learn about others' experiences. And what you and Michael's story is just very inspiring, and there's a lot to be learned from it. But if you kind of go back before Cigi's Boutique and The Exceptional Bean, what got you here? You know, what got you to even into the designer space and that kind of thing?
I think that's so important because when I get to go speak to children or like high school students, it's important to tell how I got here.
Yeah.
Not just, hey, here I am.
You woke up one day and you got two
Yes,
businesses.
because it's not that easy. It's not that easy. But I was a Tennessee Tech alumni. So I came to Tennessee Tech in 2002, graduated in 2006 with human ecology, which is fashion merchandising and marketing. So I'm actually using my degree, which a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
So fashion merchandising and marketing, I moved to Atlanta for 8.5 years and I worked in the fashion industry. So I feel like because of my previous career, that's where I learned how to have a successful clothing store. I would work with small business owners like myself and see their successes, see their failures. What are they doing that works? What are they doing that doesn't work? And so I kind of had all the puzzle pieces to one day open my own store.
Okay. Yeah, break down like what a day in the life looked like when you were in Atlanta doing that. That's actually
Yes.
kind of cool. Like, yeah, what did
Yes.
you do kind of there?
So I moved there for the sole purpose of working at America's Mart. That was why I
Okay.
moved there.
Yeah.
Well, I graduated in a recession, so no one was hiring.
Yeah. And they definitely weren't hiring here. You had to leave.
Yes, yes, there were no job opportunities here for that particular field.
Right.
So I moved to Atlanta. I worked 3 part-time jobs, which is an important part of my story because you'll do whatever you got to do, to pay the bills.
The successful people do. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I look back now and I'm like, how did I do that? How did I leave this job, sleep for 2 hours in my car, and then go to my serving job at this restaurant? But that's what I had to do back then. But
Yeah.
now I'm like exhausted all the time. So, but I was also 22, 23.
It's funny how the energy levels do ebb and flow,
Yes, yes. So worked those 3 part-time jobs. Finally got a job at America's Mart.
You just moved to Atlanta and started working part-time
With no job. Like I moved there with no job and got those 3 part-time
That's awesome.
jobs.
Yeah.
But so I graduated Tech in December. I stayed in Cookeville and worked at Crawdaddy's until August. So 8 months of working at Crawdaddy's, saving
Stacked every penny. Yeah.
Every penny. Found a penny in the parking lot. We're putting that in our stack.
Yeah.
And then I moved to Atlanta and said, hopefully I'll find a job. Moved there with nothing. And there wasn't Instagram. There wasn't LinkedIn.
Seriously though.
How did we do it?
I don't know.
I still don't know. But I would go places and say, here's my resume, because there wasn't all these networks and social networks to connect like this, like what we're doing right now. It didn't exist.
Yeah, and that is really wild to think back to that.
Yes.
The other day I was listening to like a Real World alum actually talking about like what MTV was like before they cast it off of Instagram. They would sit down with like 10,000 people and select these 10 college students. Yeah, one by one, and they would just pick you off of like a 5-minute thing, and it's like, and they had better casting, interesting at that time. Anyways, so then you get your first big girl job there, and so you were in like, help me understand. I'm not obviously in the fashion industry. What was that job like?
So America's Mart is a wholesale mart where all the businesses, small businesses, mom and pops, Target, Nordstrom, everybody goes, sees the new collection, and places your order for your clothing, your gift items, and your home decor.
Okay.
It's in Atlanta. It's the largest one in the world. It's over 7 million square feet.
Wow.
It's huge. Yeah. So I was a sales rep. So I would go to other trade shows all over the country, recruit businesses to exhibit in Atlanta. So that was my job.
In America's Mart.
Yes.
It's so funny, Cigi, that when I was talking to Ricky earlier, other people I've interviewed always, not always, but so many later people that found their businesses were in what? They were in sales.
Yes.
And it's just, it's such a vital skill set for success, you know, in that. And so going to trade shows and being forced to do that, that was probably a scary thing. But you have the right personality for it, but that doesn't mean it was easy.
It wasn't easy. And I think that every job I had before being a business owner is what makes me a good business owner, is because I've had to cold call. I've had to look people in the eye and talk to people and pitch a product. And everything is sales. It doesn't matter if you're a dentist, if you're an attorney, it doesn't matter.
If you're the visionary behind the coffee shop, it's all sales. You have to sell it. And so this America's Mart, is that?
Yes,
so you got to see the full supply chain of fashion.
Wholesale, retail, what the new trends are going to be for the upcoming year. Because when I buy clothing from my store, I buy 6 months ahead of time. So I'm already ordering winter, and it's 100 degrees outside right now.
Yeah. What do you do now? Do you go to trade shows and stuff now to see what's out there?
Yep. So I go to trade shows, see what's out there, and place my orders.
That's cool.
Yep.
So you were doing that, moving obviously a massive organization. Yes. You could have just stayed there. Why not?
So I loved my job. And at that time, I thought it was my dream career. This is where I will be. I'll plant roots in Atlanta. All my friends stayed in Cookeville, got married, had babies. I was coming back for weddings. I was coming back for baby showers, birthday parties. Every time I would leave and head south to Atlanta, I would cry or feel like I don't have that where I'm going. I don't have community. I don't have core friendships. I have a great paycheck and a great job, but I'm like empty inside. Yeah. So I quit that job with no plan once again and moved to Cookeville, and my parents thought I lost my mind because my dad was like, "You're an idiot." Like, you know, my dad wanted me to have a plan, and my mom was like, "Well, I'm happy for you, but what are you going to do?" So I moved back.
Once again, there's still no designer jobs here, Cigi. Like, even though we're 7 years later. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. So I had my savings.
Yeah.
And I got a little like part-time job here, and then my friends were like, "You need to open a clothing store." And so within 6 months of moving back to Cookeville in 2014, I opened Cigi's.
2014.
2014.
Yeah, and obviously you're still in business. It's been everyone, well, at least everyone who shops in that. You know, I know my wife knows about it, and it's done really well for you and Michael and your family, right? Yeah, and you've really scaled it successfully.
Yes, and without Cigi's, everything else wouldn't exist. The bean would not be here.
That's just the bottom line, you know. And it was so cool. We've also, I think, interviewed Michael, I think last year, and nonprofits serve such a vital part of. We're going to get talking about the exceptional bean, but just it's this middle ground between private industry and the government cannot fill the void that so many nonprofit missions do. And I think once again, there's a lot of reasons why it came out of Cigi's, but ultimately you had to stand on your 2 feet as a private enterprise and have success in this community, you know, for years. That bold move, you know, for people listening, like that, it sounds crazy to a lot of people.
It sounds crazy to me.
Yeah.
And I did it.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I got to tell you, you know, I'm doing this now, and we have our law firm, which is a white collar, stodgy industry, but still we own our own business. And I would have never done this if it wasn't for Tori. She was really the trailblazing creator and innovator in my marriage. I would have been, you know, some federal prosecutor stiff, you know, in a federal courtroom somewhere for my whole career, getting my safe, you know, 401k government paycheck, which is nothing wrong with that at all, by the way. I want to be very clear on that. But that's not how change happens in society. And that's not how big things can happen, like the exceptional being. That has to come from taking bold moves. And I think for people that are listening that are scared, I mean, what do you have to say about that? Like, I mean, I guess you just got to do it.
You've got to do it. Life is so short, and nothing is stable or secure. Even my job that I had in Atlanta with a huge corporation, I'm a number to them.
Yeah.
Someone could have come along and they could have kicked me to the curb, and that would have been it.
Could happen at any point.
It could happen at any point. And are you happy? Like, people that are on their deathbeds, they're not like, "Oh, I'm so grateful that I invested in my," you know, people need to be happy, and life is short. And what really matters, like lunch with your wife and having your kids close by, like that's important and that matters. And in order for you to live a life where you feel fulfilled, it's not about a paycheck. Yeah. It's not about security. Sometimes it's scary, but it's worth it.
It's a mirage in so many ways, isn't it?
It totally is a mirage. Yes.
Yeah. And it's one thing to say that, and another thing to internalize it and act on that. And that's so cool. So, okay, I want to talk now about how the genesis of the exceptional bean. You mentioned, first of all, I want to talk about why is it that the bean would not exist if it wasn't for Cigi's. Let's start there. Why did it take a for-profit company to kind of create the nonprofit?
Yes. So CG's had been around for 8 years
Okay.
at the time of the beginning of the exceptional being.
Okay.
And I had this idea. We wanted it to be a nonprofit. So we had to go out in the community, ask for donations. If I wasn't Cigi's Boutique, these people wouldn't know me.
Oh.
Who is this person asking for money? We didn't have a space yet. We didn't have anything. It was just me and Michael saying, hey, we're going to do this. Do you believe in us? Can you support us? I think if I wasn't, not who I was, but if I didn't have CG's, then people wouldn't have known me and wouldn't have trusted me. I was a trusted community business owner.
That is a great summary of that, because it's one thing to go around and raise money and fundraise for organizations and stuff, but you have to have that trust. People aren't going to hand over any sizable amounts of money without.
Who is this person?
Exactly. And so
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing. It's not necessarily that there was seed money, there was not from Cigi's Boutique. It was more of that you had established yourself here as a
Yes.
trustworthy business owner.
Yes.
And that's where, and of course, Michael doesn't meet a stranger, and he
Oh
was
gosh,
able
yes.
to do that well.
Mhm.
And okay, I always assume people know. So why don't you go ahead and give an overview of the mission statement
Okay.
and the purpose of the exceptional being?
Yes. So the purpose is to create employment and community within the disabilities community. We want to showcase what they can do, not what they can't do. And we also, it's to create employment in a supportive environment. We want our individuals to come in and feel like this is my spot. I have help here. I have all the resources and support that I need. And I want it to be an incubator where they come in, they learn these job skills, and then they can go out and do whatever they want, wherever they want.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's what it's been.
And how has it grown? As far as the
Yes.
number, that's, I know when you first started, that's been the challenge. 6 months in, a
Yes.
year in, is that still a challenge as far as?
So we hired 33 originally, 2 left to go to other jobs, and then we have since then hired a few more. So I think we have 34 right now.
Okay.
Individuals with disabilities, and then we have 4 typical employees. So we actually
You do a
turn
great job.
3 tomorrow. So
Okay.
yeah, the Bean's birthday is this week.
Okay.
So we still have our original location, then we opened a second location in the hospital lobby at CRMC, which is our local hospital here.
Didn't know that.
Yes, just
That
2 months ago.
do you know that we just, my wife just delivered a baby in Nashville? Yes, we did, but they have no coffee shop. They have no like nice lobby like Cookeville. Anyway, so y'all are in the hospital too.
Yes.
So how many employees are there now?
So there we have, there's 2 always there. There's
Okay.
a cashier and a barista. So
Okay.
there's a Bean team member and then a typical barista.
And then typical there too.
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So that's how we were able to hire a few more people.
It's always that, and I'm assuming there is still a ton of demand, or is that kind of tapered off?
No,
Oh, okay.
There's a stack this thick of applications.
Wow.
We don't even take applications anymore because it just feels like
there's no reason to, and the stacks this thick. So that tells you that you selected the correct problem to solve, and I think that is just so awesome. I go there pretty much every single day to the exceptional band.
Yep. My shop is right behind the band,
yep.
So I can see people driving through.
Come right through there, and we're gonna get our coffee. And for those that are here, we all know that Starbucks, their coffee is trash. Sorry for your Starbucks lovers out there. It is. It's just it's horrible. When I drive by there and I see like the double wraparound, I'm like, this is just, you people got the sickness. This is horrific coffee, but it's the sugar and it's not coffee that most of those people are drinking. Yeah. People, like poets, we like our coffee shops. Yes. Come do the Bean. There's a mission here that we're serving. These people are desperate. We work with so many special needs families, setting up special needs trusts, helping them help parents plan when they're no longer here for their loved ones as they age, and that they can still have that purpose, have that employment, have that security and things on the estate planning side. And we see when people come in with their adult autistic children or a child with Down syndrome or whatever the disability is, that don't have that could maybe be in a position like that, and they can't. So what you've done here is incredible, and I think that other founders, honestly, there's plenty of room to come in here, whether it's in our community or the surrounding areas. This should be a model that should be replicated. I know that you were talking about also candles and things like that. Are there still some ideas in the mix to grow other areas to get some of these applicants?
Yes. So we started CS Candle Company, which is in the back of the Exceptional Bean. And we have 2 employees there that hand pour soy candles.
Okay, so you are doing that.
We're doing that, yeah. And so those are sold in my store. But the biggest part of that business is school fundraisers. So right now we're pouring 200 candles for upper middle school. Mm-hmm. So the sports teams local here in our community come to us. We sell them wholesale candles. and then they turn around and sell them to their families and friends to raise money for their clubs and their sports teams.
Okay, and
So
so
it's
that
like community, like everybody wins.
and just wherever that's so cool that you're doing that. You're in the hospital now. Is there any plan to maybe
Let's
grow
go.
it? Okay,
Yes, let's go.
it's just we got to get there
We
in
got to get
steps. We're
there.
just now turning 3.
We're just now turning 3, and
Yeah,
we have our second location. The hospital shop is such a blessing.
yeah, that's a
It has really taken off some of that fundraising burden that we have because we are a 501c3. So we run off of donations and coffee sales, but in order
yeah.
to keep that many people employed,
Foundations
we've got
is
to
a
raise money.
yeah. If you don't mind sharing too, what about from profits from the coffee and then
Yes.
the donations? How like what percentage do you have to have so far on an annual basis to keep things going?
Yes, we need to raise $150,000 a year,
Okay,
which
yeah,
is very doable.
yeah, but it's yeah,
But it's $150,000.
yeah,
But when you look at some other nonprofits and their budgets, ours is like a small
right,
on the scale of things.
yeah,
And we do have the coffee shop making money.
yes, yes,
Some nonprofits don't have an income source.
yeah.
And so we do have that piece to the puzzle too.
Yeah, we interviewed the Magnolia Foundation from the Cookeville tornadoes,
Yes.
and really they're largely, from what I understand, largely 100% from
Yes.
donations, and so every nonprofit's different. So
Yes.
you have a portion coming in from the coffee.
Yes. We did a candle for them.
Oh, okay.
So for the mothers that have lost children, they would send them a candle from CS Candle Company for Mother's Day. So we did a partnership with them.
Cool. Well, they have it, and they're growing too.
They are
Sadly, that's a huge need.
I know, it's a
Yeah.
huge need that I had no idea
I
about.
did not at all. And apparently Tennessee, he was sharing with me the stats. For whatever reason, our state has a much higher childhood death rate, after, of course, infancy, just teenagers and children that,
Yes.
yeah. And so y'all are continuing to grow. What's the biggest challenge so far as a nonprofit, owner versus, the challenges of growing and scaling and making sure you're profitable in CG's boutique? What's the big difference? I'm fundraising one.
Huge difference. To me, the clothing store, and I don't even know how to say this really, but the clothing store could close tomorrow and I could go find another job because I'm a healthy, able body. I will do whatever it takes to keep the bean open because I've got over 30 people counting on me and their family members and the disabilities community. Little kids that have disabilities come in and see someone that looks like them behind the register. I mean, I cry literally every time I go in there.
Oh,
Tears.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
that matters.
Yeah.
And so I will sacrifice, I will sell my home if
To
I
keep
have
the bean going.
to keep the bean going. So that's the biggest difference is like, it matters.
Yeah, for business owners that are watching, for people or just individuals, families, how do they give? I just want to say, I mean, is it easy as going on the Exceptional Bean website and clicking Give Now?
Yes,
Okay, okay.
exceptionalbeancookville.com, give now, come get a cup of coffee, buy a t-shirt. We do fundraisers throughout the year. We're selling bottomless tumblers right now. So for $2.99, you buy a tumbler, you get free coffee until July 2026, or $3 off specialty drinks. So we've always got something going on.
Oh yeah, and it's nice stuff too. Y'all don't skimp on it. So come by, get the tumbler, get the swag. Yeah. We did an event a couple of years ago for special needs families. You came and spoke.
Yes.
The Rising Above came, and I saw for the first time some of the employees there. Their parents themselves sharing their story in tears. And I just don't think people understand unless you're in estate planning with these families. You own a business helping them, or you're a parent of a special needs loved one, of a child or an adult child. The amount of Americans that are having to live with disabilities that are functional and can work but cannot work. I don't know the stats off the hand, but it's astounding, and it's also growing.
Yeah, in 2022, 18% of the world's population was born with a disability. Over 80% of that 18 are unemployed and not by choice. Just because they can't find a job.
So roughly 20% of the population has a disability, and 80% of those.
Huge amount.
That is so this is one thing that Michael was talking about too, and that the government can't fill the void here. It's got to be nonprofits. It's got to be private charitable organizations to do this. Is that it actually is going to be a big help to, obviously, the most important thing to someone's soul and their purpose in life and what God's called you guys to do, but also the economies of our local. We don't need 20% of people sitting on the sidelines that don't want to be on the sidelines. For that, serving coffee, making candles, whatever we can do to find ways to get people, and they develop, don't they too? Some of your employees have gotten,
All of them. All of them have gotten better. When they first started, they themselves and their caretakers told us they can't do this, she can't do the can't. The can't list was this long. To which my husband said, "Have you tried? Have you ever tried?"
I can see him.
So
Yeah.
he's like, throw them in, sink or swim, and every single one of them has gotten better at every job in the shop. People that said, "I can't count money," are our head cashiers. Every one of our cashiers said, "I can't do change, I can't count money." Have you tried?
Mm-hmm.
And then when there's a slow time, we have a little like Monopoly money, cash drawer where
Practice.
they sit and they practice.
Yeah.
And when you practice, you get better.
Yeah, and essentially every time I go in there, they do it themselves. Your typical
Yes.
employees do an excellent job of empowering, I think, and running the shop there
We're
to
just here
keep.
if you need us.
Exactly. Yeah, it's such a great thing.
Yeah.
CG, for folks that are are willing to take the plunge, whether that's opening their own business, opening a nonprofit, or just making that step in life. Maybe they know their parents aren't going to agree with, or whomever's in their life. What do you have to say to them?
You know, do it.
Got to do it.
Nike said just do it, and they were on to something. It's never going to make sense. It's never going to on paper be the practical thing to do. You just have to go for it.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, because I'm worst case scenario. If it doesn't work, you go get another job.
Yeah,
That's
and honestly, that experience, failure is part of life too. And even if
Yes.
it does, it's never the worst case. And also, those experiences make the next thing seem easier.
That's
and you're
why
going to
I have
learn.
3 businesses now. It's because that first one
Okay.
was super scary.
Yeah.
But then I did it, and I'm like, oh, I can do this again. Oh, I can do this again. It gets easier.
Yeah.
So you just gotta go for it.
Keep going. Be bold. Well, there you have it, folks. CG England, thank you so much for coming in, CG.
Thank you.